From the Bluegrass State, a rainy Tuesday night flow from Lexington as the 20th ranked Kentucky Wildcats, who have been on a tear to start this season, a perfect 5-0 as they welcome in the Purdue Boilermakers inside historic Memorial Coliseum. We say hello and welcome you in with the national championship head coach and women's basketball Hall of Famer Carolyn Peck. I'm Tiffany Green. Now you think about last year, it was a spectacular year for Kenny Brooks, but now he's having to transition along with this team because there's no more Georgia A. Moore.
There's no more Georgia A. Moore, but there's still plenty of Clara Strack, and she has really come in her second season here at Kentucky with a bang, a force. She is averaging almost 17 points a game, and she's getting on the glass, rebounding at a rate of over 12 a game. And still, what she did last year that made her the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, blocking shots, but watch out, 6'5", can let it go from the three-point line.
Naismith, National Player of the Year watch list. You see tied for 6th in Division I with 3 blocks per game. On the other side, you've got Ela Karsh, who's having to carry the load for this Purdue team. Yes, she comes in as a freshman, but she's 21 years old, Carolyn. 21
years old. Look, she played in Israel against some pros and with some pros, so she brings plenty of basketball knowledge and experience to the court, even though she's a freshman.
Big Blue Nation ready to go here from historic Memorial Coliseum. Tiani Key and McCarthy ready to jump it up instead. A little whistle, a little premature movement.
International rules. Carr said she's adjusting to the American rules. On the jump ball, you got to stay put until the ball's in the air.
Key wins the tip, and Toni Morgan controlling it. She fills the shoes of the aforementioned Georgia A. Moore that we talked about in the open, coming over from Georgia Tech. Tiani Key along the baseline. It's true. Key, the senior, is averaging 11 points a game.
It's going to be interesting to see how does Purdue adjust to the length of Kentucky.
When you're taking a look at the Purdue lineup, Kiki Smith, one of those newcomers, 9 in total. She's a sharpshooter along with Layden Zay, who returns the team. Tried to get it inside to Lana McCarthy, and the Boilermakers turn it over. 4th meeting in the series between the two.
Lana McCarthy at 6'4". And she's and that's one of the things that Katie Gerald's worked on today, is establishing one-on-one in the paint.
Well, along with Strack, Key, Hassett, and Obi, all standing 6 foot or taller. And then Toni Morgan, as we mentioned as well. Strack going on the other side of the baseline. She saw Key do it. That little fadeaway 1 foot from Strack.
Now you just got to get the triplets, got to get Hassett involved. You already got a bucket from Key. You already got a bucket from Strack. Hassett is the 3rd member of what Kenny Brooks calls his triplets.
And how appropriate Cat also comes into play with that one kicked by Tiani Key. So the shot clock will reset to 20 seconds, and the Boilermakers will inbound it.
Tiani Key, just the face-up and the consistency. She really came alive last year after barely playing limited minutes for North Carolina in her first year at Kentucky. She was able to really find herself, build a lot of confidence, and you can see that has carried over this year.
Karsh, who is off the mark there, coming back the other way off the defensive rebound, is Kentucky, starting at 5-0 on the season, coming off that win against Marshall. And Strack, who has really helped to extend her game, pushing out. She wanted to be better on the perimeter, knocks it down from 3, a 7-0 advantage for Kentucky.
We talked about the length of Kentucky, and most of the time you think, oh, you can dominate in the paint. Well, all 4 of those big players for Kentucky, they can also shoot the 3.
That's part of what makes them so dangerous, because of their athleticism to go along with their size. As Day steps back, tries to answer. Tara Day off the mark. Trying to push it as Morgan surveys, awaits, finds Key, being guarded by Layden Zay. Double team coming. Strack puts it on the floor. Turnaround won't go. Offensive rebound.
See, I think rebounding is going to be what makes Kentucky so dangerous. Yeah, you can have Key and Strack shooting a three from the outside. You're going to have Jordan Obi getting offensive rebounds.
Here's Day trying to work inside on Morgan, and the offense, or rather the foul called against Tony Morgan on the shot. And Katie Gerald's in her 5th season leading Purdue. Made it back to the NCAA tournament back in 2023, and this is a program that is searching and has nothing to lose here tonight, trying to get their 4th ranked win under head coach Gerald's. Played at Purdue, graduated in 2007, and obviously has a lot of experience on her staff and connections and ties to the team out of West Lafayette.
Now, Purdue's got 10 newcomers. 6 of those are transfers. So as you're trying to build a culture, you know, you have that many new players coming in, it's like starting from the ground level.
We talk about the newness. It was Jordan Obi who came in last year, ruptured her Achilles, but first time on the floor this season, and she knocks down the mid-range jumper.
The thing that I like about Jordan Obi is she's about 6'6", but she is so strong. And so she's very versatile, playing inside and out. She's only made 1 3, but she's got a three-point shot. We saw her stroke it this morning. So that versatility is going to be, I mean, that's going to allow Kentucky to play different without Georgia Amore. Georgia Amore could, you know, pull up anywhere, come inside the K at center court and pull it up. Now they're having to run more sets, but they've got plenty of options and talent at all 5 spots to do that.
And Clara Strack, who has been a big centerpiece of that, and as Day was fouled on the shot, it goes against Amelia Hassett. And so this is where Purdue has gotten all their points so far tonight, as Kenny Brooks in his 2nd season. And what a great job he did last year, leading the way. We saw records broken for this team. Led the nation in blocks a season ago, a school record, 218 blocks. But they were just a dangerous team from top to bottom. She finished 4th in the SEC as a nice take off the bounce from Clara Strack.
So she is 6'5". And so we saw her shoot a 3, now seeing her put it on the deck. I think that she has taken her game to another level this season.
And that's something that Coach Kitty Brooks challenged her with was, hey, how do you step it up and do even greater? And what she told us, we are trying to win an SEC championship. And one of the things I could do is be better on the perimeter. You're pushing Asia Boone.
And with Strack always being a threat, you got to have a strong move and a counter move. And if Strack is the main move and teams go to double team her, that's going to open up everybody else. We got 6'5" that can do this. Show it to you, then go with it. Finish on the left side. That's nice.
Junior out of Buffalo, New York. As you mentioned, the Defensive Player of the Year in the SEC a season ago. Just confident, poised. They call her Big Smooth around these parts.
And she is that. And you talk about being up at Buffalo. She had a career high 27 points at her homecoming because she's from that area.
An 11-4 advantage early on for Kentucky. Kiki Smith picks up her dribble. Again, deep into the shot clock again. Going against 6-footers, and no way for Day.
Right now, Kentucky lead the nation in blocks per game, 10 per game. And on that last possession, to be able to block it and keep it in bounds is key.
Speaking of key, Tiani Key over to Jordan Obi. Obi knocks down the 3-ball. So that takes us to the media timeout, just over halfway through the first quarter. A 10-point advantage for Kentucky. Beautiful, nice shot of downtown Lexington. Let's take you back to 26 years ago when my partner Carolyn Peck was the head coach of Purdue, taking them all the way to the national championship game and downing Duke in the process to bring home the national championship, and the first ever in the Big Ten, and still the only in the Big Ten. And partner, when you think about the players that you had, Stephanie White, Katie Douglas, you were sharing stories earlier. Kelly Kamara, I mean, she's sitting right over there. You can see her. You can say what's up to her associate head coach for the Boilermakers.
Okay, can I tell you a story about Kelly Kamara?
Okay.
Because as we were making our run in 98-99 season, first game of the season was against Tennessee. Now, early on, Kari Figs, I think, may have gotten a couple of fouls, wound a little tight. I had to take her out. I put Kelly in. Kelly Kamara was a freshman. She was not in the game against Tennessee, who had won. They were three-peat of national champion. Kelly Kamara goes in, 7 seconds in, pulls the trigger, hits a three, and is celebrating. Now, Stephanie White grabbed her by her jersey and said, get back and play defense. But I laughed with Kelly about that first three because she said, I was a freshman. I wasn't even on the scouting report.
After that, they had to, know about Kelly after that.
Kelly was tough as nails. The little bulldog come in defensively, and then when you needed a bucket, she could get that for you as well.
Well, coming out of the timeout, Purdue was able to whip up 2 points quickly as Kiki Smith gets on the board, the junior transfer out of Topeka, Kansas.
Yeah, I think that was a good timeout for Katie Gerald. Purdue losing a little confidence because of the defense, smothering defense by Kentucky.
When you look at this offense, everybody's gotten involved, and now Toni Morgan trying to get into it. Off the mark, Asia Boone for three. Too strong. We talked about the defense of Kentucky making it difficult over the last 4 games. They've held opponents to under 30% shooting from the floor and 50%, or 50 rather, points in a game. And here you see that great defense. Just how are they defending here as Kendall Purrier is able to get 2?
Well, again, Kentucky one-on-one and with length. What Purdue has got to do is they've got to spread the floor. Allow either isolations one-on-one or driving lanes for the guards and really challenge that length of can they get down and defend off the bounce.
The junior out of San Diego, Asia Boone, transferred in from Liberty. Still looking for a shot to fall down. Tracking it down is Layden Zay. Up the floor to Kiki Smith. That one's blocked by Claire Strack. We told you about her shot blocking abilities, but how about Hassett keeping it in play?
That's where the bigs of Kentucky able to defend. It's not just blocking shots in the paint. They can get on the perimeter and defend as well.
Over to Boone. 7 to go on the shot clock. Toni Morgan thought about it and pulls the trigger. Kenny Brooks wants to see more of that. He told us in shoot around earlier, yo, look, don't forget, we know that you're a shooter. Shoot that rock.
Well, he compared her, and he rarely does this, to what Georgia Amore would do at the beginning of the game, facilitate, trying to find her teammates. And she said, just like with Georgia, he had to remind her, oh, you're also a scorer. And so when she gets that balance, she's going to be that dual threat at the point guard position.
Let's go back to that last defensive possession and Strack. Stretch it out.
That was blocking a three-point shot. Ooh. Wow.
Well, the block party continues in this 2025-26 season. Led the nation last year in blocks per game, and they've upped that number so far through 5 games at 10 swats. That's best in the nation. And Strack gets a much-deserved breather. She picked up her first personal foul in the process of that last play.
Well, with the length that they are able to play, many times they can really switch 2 through 5.
Oh, KP Kendall Purrier, who is strong here, and she'll get the hoop and the harm.
Now, Kendall is a the top returning scorer for Purdue from last season.
Well, don't forget, folks, this week we're featuring a men's and women's basketball doubleheader. Tomorrow night, Joyce Edwards leads the second-ranked South Carolina Gamecocks against Winthrop at 7 Eastern. Then Keyshawn Hall and number 22 Auburn host Jackson State. Both are available on the all-new ESPN app. And what a week, Joyce. Edwards had SEC Player of the Week with wins over both Clemson and Southern Cal.
She didn't look like a sophomore against USC. A confident force. She's got great hands, and I love her motor, pursuing the basketball.
Down into Tiani Key. Oh, Key with the contact. No foul called there, and it rims off. Taylor Feltman over to Smith. Nia Smith has it halfway down and pop back out. And here come the Cats. Toni Morgan. Strong move to the hoop. She's got the and one to go along with it.
Kentucky is so tough to defend in transition because of their threat from the perimeter. They stayed spread out wide, and that left the driving lane, and Morgan took full advantage.
Morgan, who graduated in 3 years with her business administration degree from Georgia Tech, now adding to this Kentucky team, completes the three-point play.
Toni Morgan is a 3-time second-team All-SEC and graduated in 3 years from Georgia Tech.
Mightily impressive.
Oh, yeah.
And Asia Boone, who is guarding, over to Layden Zay, and Layden Zay knocks down the three. Her 5th of the season. She's closing in on the record books for career three-pointers during her time in the black and gold.
Gold and black.
And the gold and black. You had to hit me to it, Carolyn, earlier.
Purdue is gold and black. Vanderbilt's black and gold.
Had a part of both of those programs, so you know what it's like. As an offensive foul call against the Wildcats.
You know, Layden Zay was a welcome back Boilermaker after 2024. Decided not to play, and then in January went to Katie Gerald's and said, yeah, I'd like to come back. She found the love of the game, and so now coming back, this is experience. This is a player who can shoot the three. And look, she's chasing her head coach in Katie Gerald's with three-point makes in Purdue history.
A super senior that comes back. Her sister's on the team, part of the first sister duo for the Boilermakers. And KP, who is off the mark, but fighting for that, is Layden Zay. Boone! Yep! Asia Boone, who came into this game second on the team with threes for Kentucky, knocks down that triple. She's got 14 on the season and a 10-point advantage for the Wildcats in the closing 10 seconds of the first quarter.
Asia Boone thought she was going to get called for a foul on that one, but the travel. But this is a player that, transferring in from Liberty, is a three-point sniper. And Kenny Brooks has told her, listen, don't hesitate. If you see it, let it fly, because he knows she can flat out shoot the leather off the basketball.
Boone with the ball in her hands to try to close out the quarter. And hand check foul there from Smith. 2.8 seconds remaining. First personal foul for Smith. On the inbound, they get it to Strack. Strack, turn around, and just rims off. But a strong start to the first quarter, 67% from three-point range. 4 different Kentucky basketball players have knocked down a three. They're feeling good from downtown. A 10-point lead here from historic Memorial Coliseum, 20th ranked Kentucky on top of Purdue. Well, there's a towering presence when you look at this Kentucky basketball team, and certainly their height matters.
Well, this graphic says 6'1". They're actually 6'1" and 7/16. They're taking every little inch that they can get, but look, you have to have length. You got to have height in the SEC. Kentucky and Texas Vanderbilt, they got 8 players that are 6'1 plus. And then you look on down, You know, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. This is, I think that the SEC is a post players game. ACC, I think it's a guard game. SEC, and you have to be able to protect the paint, and you got to be able to rebound in the SEC in order to finish at the top. And I think Kentucky has gotten themselves in that position with the new players and the length that Kenny Brooks has brought in.
We mentioned a 23-8 record a season ago, made it to the second round of the NCAA tournament. That close overtime loss, but they've added some new pieces, including a player like Jordan Obi that hopefully will help make that run deeper into the NCAA tournament. Of course, they're going to be a contender and a player in the SEC championship race as well.
The patience and composure Jordan Obi plays with, just kept her dribble, then got the balance and the pivot foot, getting all the way around to get the finish.
Obi, who graduated, finished her degree from Penn, and the Aussie from the free throw line, wide open, Amelia Hassett.
Well, you saw in this last possession, Jordan Obi playing the 4, Hassett at the 3. Next time down, you may see those two interchange.
How difficult is it to defend because of the versatility and the interchangeability of players?
Well, with the high IQ of these post players or these big players for Kentucky, they recognize when they got a big on them, then they can pop out, let somebody else go in and post up. You see Clara Strack pulling KP out, number 22 in black, so causing the big to come away from the basket.
Giving chase, but out of bounds because Clara Strack can and has already tonight knocked down a 3.
Well, Kenny Brooks said that it was the players that really started interchanging their positions. They would run something, and then, you know, Hassett may say, okay, I'm going to stay inside, you go outside. And it was, she said, it was really cool to see them themselves recognize the versatility. Ones that Purdue worked on in shoot-around was using a lot of ball screen action. But Kentucky has the ability to switch, and like you don't get any, you don't pick up a slower defender by switching on ball screens, and so you can't get that kind of advantage. I think when you're playing a team that's got that kind of length, you've got to use some off-ball screening action, some split action, some screen and slip to the basket, but you've got to start with good spacing.
Feldman, who was an all-Big Sky selection out of Northern Arizona, knocks down both free throws, and right now Purdue is still within this ball game, just down a dozen.
Yeah, Kiki Smith's got to really get going. That's number 23 in black, the transfer from Arkansas. You know, she's used to the physicality of the SEC, and she can get downhill when she wants to.
So far, Kentucky shooting 55% from the floor. They're having even greater success from three-point range. Jordan Obi over to Strack. Working on Kendall Purrier. He leaves it short. Day comes up with it in transition. Kiki Smith over to her teammate. Feldman can't get it to go down, and corralled by Obi.
Oh, Strack is running the middle of the lane.
Off the rebound. Here comes Purdue.
And Purdue's got to score before Kentucky can get their defense set. Then you don't have to go against that size.
Off the screen, here's Karsh. Picks up her dribble, stuck a little bit. And Strack comes down with the defensive rebound and is fouled. 13 total rebounds so far in this game for Kentucky.
It's just a problem for Hila Karsh coming off ball screens. And when Kentucky switches, there's no daylight. And two, when you're setting a screen that you know the defense is going to switch, sometimes you can slip that. The screener needs to make themselves an option. I love that
Strack,
one leg
that one leg
away.
away.
That
Yeah.
is so pretty.
And we saw Clara Strack practicing that quite a bit in shoot-around earlier as 6'7" Avery Gordon comes into the ball game, the true freshman for Purdue. But we saw the time that was taken by Clara Strack. She went over and over and over again with that shot in shoot-around earlier today.
I think Kenny Brooks shares that shot with every post player that comes to Kentucky, because Liz Kitley, look, does this not look familiar? Right there, off one leg and get the finish.
Well, Strack, who had the opportunity to learn and sit behind Liz Kitley when they were at Virginia Tech. Kitley was a 3-time All-ACC Player of the Year.
Oh, I thought that could have been a kick ball.
The applause from the crowd here from Blue Nation, liking the hustle from the home team. Key off the screen, takes it, kicks out. Obi for 3. Yes! Jordan Obi's second triple of the night.
She'd only made 2 all season. Katie Geralds was kind of going to gamble on Obi and say play off of her or a short closeout. You got to make that adjustment after somebody's already hit 2.
Off the deflection, and the Boilermakers come up with it. Day reverse, tough shot. Well, Boone back over to Obi, who came off of a team-high 17 points in that win over Marshall. Well, every Saturday, Marty and McGee and the SEC Nation get you ready for football with SEC game previews and latest news from around the conference. They'll be in Nashville at Vanderbilt on Alumni Lawn starting at 9 a.m. Eastern. Both shows are right here on the SEC Network and the all-new ESPN app.
Sitting here, you know, how can Purdue get themselves back in this game? And we asked Katie Geralds who needed to have a good day, and she said Madison, Layden Zay, and said she doesn't have to score a lot of points, but they've got to find her, and she's got to play through her. She's got to handle the basketball. She has it right now.
Over in the quarter, Ela knocks it down. Ela Karsh, they need that from her. She's third in the nation among freshmen in scoring.
Lexi Blue in the game. She can flat out shoot the basketball as well.
And Carolyn, I think that sounds like a very familiar theme when you talk about this Kentucky squad. Kiki Smith, too strong. Day skies to get it. McCarthy is blocked by Key and comes up with it.
And one of the things that Key has worked on this year is blocking shots without fouling. She got herself into some foul trouble last season and needed her on the floor at crucial times. She make that adjustment. Woo!
Kenny Brooks talked about just how she was the key to consistency and to the team's success last year with her evolution. Break here from the floor, 4:37 remaining in the first half, and the heart and the emotion all poured out here in this Tuesday night affair. Welcome back here to historic Memorial Coliseum. Carolyn Peck, Tiffany Green here with you, and when you look at the breakdown of what Clara Strack and Jordan Obi have done just as a duo compared to the team for Purdue, it's quite impressive so far in this first half.
Yeah, Jordan Obi, specifically 4 or 5 from the floor, and you have the versatility of how Obi can play. I mean, she's got a terrific motor. She brings great energy, and now that she's got her three-point shot falling, this can be troubled. This is a player that played 3 seasons at Penn and was a force in the Ivy, and she has brought it to the SEC. Yes, she may have had to sit out last year with that Achilles, but look, she looks strong and healthy coming in tonight.
Well, she had to sit out 589 days before she took the court again in that season opener in her Kentucky debut. And she had 15 points, tied a career high 15 points as well. But she also comes in as the oldest, or one of the oldest on the team. And she said she had to adjust to that because she had not been familiar with being in that position. But certainly she is playing beyond her years so far tonight.
Let me make a comparison for you. And when I look at her, she reminds me a little bit of Dre Edwards. Remember, Dre Edwards hit that three-point winner in the SEC tournament. And also, but the build of Ryan Howard and her ability to shoot the three, being a big guard. So you get a combination of those two, that's a weapon.
Oh, yeah. And great company, especially with Ryan Howard. The success she had both at here at Kentucky and now in the WNBA. So still within striking distance for Purdue, but how do you not let this lead balloon before going into that?
Well, the biggest thing is, like, you got to finish in the paint, but then Purdue's got to string together back-to-back stops and then go convert on the other end.
Kinder Purrier, who has had the most success, too strong there. And Asia Boone looking up the floor. Amelia Hassett for three. Just off.
See, now the ball's got to move, not just on the dribble, but boom, boom. Make the defense, make Kentucky have to shift side to side.
That was deflected and last touch by Kentucky, so it's going to be Purdue basketball with 17 seconds left front of the basket. They're going to take it out.
Well, and Purdue's got to survey the situation. If you're going off the dribble, you got to know the rotation is going to be there. Now, where's the kick out? Drive in and spray the ball out for open looks.
Karsh back to Kiki Smith. Smith going against the 6'4" Tiani Key, stays tall. And good job there of defending without fouling. As Asia Boone launches it from long range. In the midst of a couple of black jerseys, Clara Strack is fouled, going for the rebound.
But Kentucky did exactly what I was talking about. When they came in transition, the ball popped. Boom, boom. Like 0.5 seconds. When you catch it, know what you're going to do with it before the defense can recover.
Kenny Brooks looking on as his system has been effective any and everywhere that he's gone, from his alma mater of James Madison to his time at Virginia Tech and now here at Kentucky. And the first 2 points for Josie Gilvin, the senior out of Louisville. She came over from Western Kentucky, part of those newcomers for this Kentucky squad.
See the spacing. When two guard one, space out.
Day with a fadeaway. She has been mousing around that basket, been able to drive baseline. This time it goes down.
You know, Purdue's trying to bounce back. They just dropped one to Purdue Fort Wayne. Katie Gerald's very disappointed. So didn't pay attention to the scouting report. So that's what they've spent the last week working on, personnel and what are the strengths of each of the Kentucky players.
And when we asked her just about, you know, areas to improve and what she was looking forward to in tonight's contest, she said, well, we had a lot of self-inflicted negatives in that last game, 24 turnovers. So far tonight, they've done a better job of taking care of the basketball, just 3 turnovers tonight. And is Key on the drive, and a Boilermaker hits the floor hard. That's number 11, McKenna Layden. That's the sister of Madison Layden-Zay. They're both on the court at the same time, 11 in black and 33 in black.
Purdue could even think about changing some things up. A lot of teams last year would be hesitant of pressing a Kentucky team with a point guard like Georgia Amore. I think that maybe you turn up the intensity. If you can score and get defense set, try to turn Kentucky over a little bit.
Karsh over to Layden-Zay. Madison picks up her dribble.
See how Kentucky just switches. Yep. Just so much length, there's no opening.
Tough shot there and deflection, and again, up the floor quickly. Gilvin finds Strack. Oh, and couldn't finish. Purdue looking to get back the other way. Day leading Boilermaker scores with 6 points.
I think a theme we're going to have all season long is blocked by Kentucky. They already have 5 blocks in this game already.
And again, best in the nation. They're halfway to their average on the season here in this first half. And the deflection there, 1.9 seconds left on the shot clock for Purdue. And again, the length of the defense for Kentucky, as you mentioned, just very active hands.
Karsh, number 8. You look for her. Used her as a screener.
Instead, it's Day, and Day bounces it off the backboard and caroms it in. And she's got 8 points right as the shot clock expired.
Well, that's great. Little trickery there. Use your shooter as a screener. Get something going to the basket.
Strack shows, loses the basketball. Gilvin comes up with it. Hassett asking for it. She got it and knocks it down from 3. Amelia Hassett, she is that deep threat that you have to always keep your eye on. She had a game high 20 points against USC Upstate. Just very skilled.
It's just solid all-around game, too. She can drive it, but she also has a great nose for the basketball, getting on the glass, rebounding.
Cutting through, and Day, once again, she finds her way into double figures.
Patience and space create opportunities for the Boilermakers. They got to keep the floor spread.
.47% from the floor. Clara Strack, who's leading all scores on the floor right now for Kentucky with 9. She's asking for it again. That fadeaway, it's been true all night long. You pick a baseline or pick a spot on the floor, Clara Strack's got it. Heaving it up, and no good. Clara Strack putting on a clinic here in this first half. 11 points to go along with 7 rebounds and a couple of blocks in the process. Off of 1 foot, fading away. She said, "Ha, I got it." Kentucky up at the half. The 20th ranked Kentucky Wildcats with a 44-26 advantage here as we are just about set to start the third quarter. Carolyn Peck, Tiffany Green back here with you, and it was all Kentucky in that first half. What did you like that they did well?
Well, I think that they showed that they're a balanced team. They can score both inside and outside, and they can get to the free throw line. And in a number of different ways. Yeah, you got Strack on the block, but you also have Jordan Obie that's doing work down low inside. But it's from the three-point line. Everybody had 5 players hit a 3. Hassett hit 1. Strack had a couple. Boone comes in off the bench. Just the balance. You've got to pick your poison of what you're going to try to take away from the Wildcats, because they had, of the 44 points, 18 from 3, 19 from 2s, and they got to the free throw line. Purdue's going to have to find a way and decide what they want to take away.
Very balanced scoring attack, as you mentioned. Carolyn, 48% from the field, 46% from three-point range, and Jordan Obie and Clara Strack, who helped power the Cats through the first 2 quarters. Back here, Kendall Purrier had a couple of fouls in that first half, had some good moments offensively. They're going to have to figure some things out here in the second half if they want to keep it close with the Cats, as that one well off the mark from Amelia Hassett.
Now Purdue has possession again. Coming out of the locker room, they stayed spaced, and you beat your defender. The rotation is there, the bounce pass, but now you've got to finish with those opportunities inside.
Tara Day, who paced the way with 10 points in the first half for the Boilermakers. Meanwhile, Ela Karsh, who averages 18 a game, held to just 3 in that first half. Kick ball, 7 seconds left on the shot clock. What more aggressively do they need to do? Does Purdue need to do in the half court?
Well, when you look, Tony Morgan is defending Day. Put Day in a ball screen with Clara Strack. If they want to switch it, then you're going to have a better mismatch, but you got to attack the smaller player for Kentucky.
Purrier. Back over to Day. Morgan, who had 2 fouls in that first half, sat for a good bit. Strack in her face and off the mark, and Strack reaches out for the rebound. Toni Morgan, who we mentioned, has her own shoes that she brought with her from Georgia Tech after taking over for Georgia A. Moore, is fouled on the way up.
And Toni Morgan, 3-time second team All-ACC, just a attacking point guard, aggressive at getting downhill. She has the ability to manufacture points. She sets up her teammates. I think she was a perfect fit to step in. And Kenny Brooks said, I'm not asking you to fill Georgia A. Moore's shoes. I need you to bring your own. And that's what Toni Morgan has done.
Well, if you look at her numbers this season, leading the nation in assists through 5 games. 49 on the season coming into tonight's game. She added a couple more in that first half. Morgan with the ball in her hands. Back over to Strack. And it's Morgan. Again, online, but missing there from 3.
You see her shake her head. But this is a player who spends a lot of time, Toni Morgan, watching film with Kenny Brooks, and you can tell in 5 games in, she's getting an understanding of how Brooks wants her to play.
Is that part of the process when you have, you know, some new pieces within? We've got you look at the number of experienced guards that Kenny Brooks brought in, Morgan, Obi, among others. Is that part of it, just understanding what's expected that helps you to be a better player or to improve?
Well, you just really need to see the game the way that he does. And I'm watching him with individual instruction. He explains to the players the why I have you doing this. And so then to understand the why within an offense or a defensive set or game situations, time and score, he helps you understand the why so that by the time you hit post-December, you're calling plays and thinking like your head coach.
Why is Clara Strack so good blocking shots? She's got 4 tonight. She affected that last shot down the floor.
I think she has tremendous timing. She's got great reach. She has discipline, too, to not make body contact, to get into foul trouble. And I think she plays basketball. Her up off the floor is like a volleyball player. She's got a quick upside.
Well, led the nation, or rather set a Kentucky record in blocks for a single season last year, the Defensive Player of the Year in the conference. And coming into tonight, she's closing in on another double-double, currently leads the nation with 4. And she's got 11 points, 9 rebounds to go along with those 4 blocks.
She also has a shot-blocking mentality. Like, she's so competitive. She wants to go get it. Like, it's a player that gets excited about blocking shots.
And one of the things that Kenny Brooks talked about in the offseason in trying to develop her game and do a better job of, he said, look, I want to be in better communication with you. I want to see you step up. They established that from their time at Virginia Tech coming into Kentucky last season. And then this year, she's had to shoulder more of the load or responsibility, and she's been asked to be more of a leader in the process. Layden Zay dealing with a bloody nose over on the Purdue sideline and getting attention from the athletic trainer, Erica Bellamy.
Got to get her all cleaned up so she can get back on the floor.
Well, this week we're featuring a women's and men's basketball doubleheader. We've got South Carolina, number 2 team in the country, featuring Winthrop here at Colonial Life Arena, and then men's Jackson State basketball team traveling to 22nd ranked Auburn on Wednesday, both available on the all-new ESPN app.
You're talking about Joyce Edwards. You're going to talk about Raven Johnson.
Yeah.
That point guard is playing. You remember a couple of years ago when they won the national championship, she was on the revenge tour, and so really had worked on her shot. I think that focus went away a little bit last year. This year, that focus is back, and Raven Johnson is shooting the basketball very well.
I love her personality. I love what she brings to the team and how they feed off of her. She is just kind of one of those magnetic type of players that both on and off the court you root for, you want to see do well, because she's demanding the best and she's giving her best.
She's sassy. That's the best way to describe Raven Johnson. And then she's got her best friend, Denai Latson, transferred in from Florida State. I watched those two play in high school as a tandem. So now to see them together at the most mature time in their college career, they're playing their best basketball.
Well, Tony Morgan going coast to coast. What a nice take there from the senior out of Tallahassee, Florida, Morgan.
See, Purdue just Kentucky switching on those ball screens. Oh, Stahl's got to look at the basket.
Gives up the shot now with 5 to go on the shot clock. Layden Zay just heaves it up, no good. New transition up ahead to Clara Strack. How nice from the nation's assist leader to the top scorer tonight, and Clara Strack, who paces the way all season for Kentucky. And a timeout taken on the floor. We'll step aside here as well with Kentucky on top. Well, we mentioned Purdue out of the Big Ten. Charlie Cream and the early projections of bracketology projecting bids by conference.
12 from the Big Ten.
Do you think 12 will get in? I mean, it's about a 17-team conference, so.
Right, there's plenty to pick from, but I think so. I mean, the talent there, I mean, you just, yeah, you look at the top of that with UCLA, USC,
Michigan.
Michigan's getting ready to play Connecticut.
Yeah.
That's going to be a ball game.
Meanwhile, South Carolina, we know, Texas, LSU,
from the
Kentucky
SEC.
among the 9. Lots to contend with.
Yeah, this Kentucky team, you got to also keep an eye out for Texas A&M. I'm going to tell you, Joni Taylor may have that thing turned around. They just came off a win against Kansas State.
Things looking up in College Station as Tiani Key is fouled after that Clara Strack 5th block, by the way. AP top 10 poll. And taking a look, you've got the defending champs at the top in UConn, but South Carolina, Texas, LSU, Oklahoma, all in the mix out of the SEC. Is there a team that you're keeping your eye on, Carolyn?
I think for the SEC, you've got to keep an eye on the whole conference. I mean, it's going to be a battle. Be interesting to watch the development of Tennessee. They're putting some new pieces together on the floor, but they're still playing that full court pressure, turn you over. Talasia Cooper is playing fantastic. She's a spark for that Tennessee team. So I think you keep an eye on the Lady Vols.
Same kind of key pieces and additions as that one goes down for Taylor Feldman for Ole Miss.
Oh, goodness. They got Cody McMahon. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So Coach O has a lot to work with. We saw Vanderbilt last week, and Shea Ralph has a lot of promising talent, obviously. Michaela Blakes came on the scene and just wowed everyone last year. She's just carrying over in her sophomore season.
And I keep talking about the little freshman point guard.
Oh, yeah.
Aubrey Galvin. Look, she... Woo, you just got to watch her.
You say baller and a half.
She is. Just how she can handle the basketball and then distribute it. And she's not one of these point guards that's out there trying to create her. She's setting up everybody else. But while she is purling with the basketball, she's finding openings for her teammates on the floor.
Morgan pulls up from the elbow. And a couple of white jerseys go for it. Key comes up with it. Asia Boone, Tony Morgan, Jordan Obie, Lexi Blue, and Tiani Key on the floor for Kenny Brooks.
Yeah, as I watch these teams in the SEC, I start imagining matchups because we haven't even talked about Texas.
No.
Roy Harmon is back. Madison Booker balling. Kyla Olaker holding down the paint.
And Feldman trying to do her job and work 5 points from her in the last 2 trips down the floor for Purdue. And then Oklahoma I mean, you've got to put them in the conversation. Reagan Beers, Peyton Borholst.
Aaliyah Chavez, the rookie, the freshman coming in.
She got freshman of the week this week.
Now Purdue, if they can convert, getting stops, but got to finish.
Feldman, who has been a nice spark off the bench with 7 points. Ela Karsh, who has been really held in check tonight. Just 3 points for Purdue's leading scorer. Feldman goes for it again, no good. Tipped out by McCarthy into the hands of Asia Boone.
But that's the right idea from Purdue. Get the ball in the paint and then spray it out. And then the shooters, though, you got to be ready to pull the trigger.
A couple of threes missed there from Jordan Obi, and immediate timeout on the floor. And still a sizable lead for the Kentucky Wildcats here from Lexington. What a first year it was for Kenny Brooks, 28 and 8 overall, the great record that they had at home, and in his second season leading the way as the 9th head coach for these Wildcats. Kenny Brooks' system, his calm demeanor, and his eye for talent all helped to create this juggernaut, if you will, in the SEC. They are a team to contend with, very dangerous, especially in the month of November under his leadership. And when we had a chance to talk with him, earlier, we said, hey, you've got so many of the pieces to make a championship run, or at least vie for one in the SEC. Maybe what can get stronger? He said, like anybody, chemistry.
Right.
Because why?
Because he has so much talent. At times, if the ball goes into Claire Strack, you get amazed by what she's doing, and the other 4 players sometimes will stand around and watch. They've done a good job of moving off the basketball, and I think that chemistry, that's the part of the chemistry that is growing. Before that timeout, when everybody was going to their benches, you saw Kenny Brooks tell his team, look, we've got to move it. He wants the ball to move, and look, if you're going to stand and watch, you're going to have to buy a ticket. Otherwise, you got to participate and get in the action.
The left-hand toss-up, no good. Rebound snatched down by Clara Strack, who already has a double-double, her 5th of the season in 6 games. And Strack from 3, no.
It feels like, to me, Clara Strack's looking more for her threes this year. I mean, last year, come across half court, Georgia Amore could pull that trigger and knock it down. And so now, still maintaining, keeping that 3-point weapon, Clara Strack's taking that upon herself. Something she really worked on in the offseason.
But I also like what she said just about the adjustment, as we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, of playing without Georgia Amore and what it's like to play with Toni Morgan. It's a different style, and it causes for her to have to do some things a little bit differently, because while Morgan averaged just better than 13 points at her last school, Strack says, I'm putting a little bit more on my shoulders too.
Well, and she's going to have to. With a lot of the pressure that is going to be put, I mean, Georgia Amore commanded 2-3 defenders at a time to slow her down, and that opened up Strack. Now, with Morgan, no disrespect to Morgan, she's a different kind of point guard, but now teams can load up their defense on Clara.
Smith, over to Smith, no relation, as Kiki Smith leaves it short. And McCarthy with the rebound, looking for the shot, going up against Strack, who just made that all kinds of difficult for her, approaching 2 minutes in the quarter. Blue, offensive rebound, and Kentucky gets to reset 8-0 boards of their 35 rebounds here tonight. Can you think of another player who has as good of a fadeaway as Clara Strack?
Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson's got that fadeaway step back. It was interesting talking to Tiona Key. I asked her, do you have interest in going to the W? She said, absolutely. It's been a dream since she was a kid. I said, well, what players do you watch? She said, well, I watch a lot of teams, but I would have to say that Asia Wilson is the one that, she, thrives to try to get her game to that level. You got to understand, Asia Wilson puts in a whole lot of work to be 3-time MVP.
I mean, she is all world when you watch her play, but also the importance of
actually she's 4-time MVP.
4-time MVP, but you get the numbers kind of mixed up because she's a 3-time champion, finals MVP a couple of times. There are so many accolades to Asia Wilson. I mean, you just kind of just run down the list. But as a former coach, how much do you appreciate it? And I know Kenny Brooks appreciates it as well, about your players watching film and watching the game, watching games.
Well, a lot of players will tell you, I want to go make it in the WNBA, but if you don't watch the
Oh, my goodness, Jordan Obi, oh my.
I bet she watches the WNBA, blocking shots like that. But you got to watch the game in order to prepare yourself to play the game. You got to see what it takes. I think Jordan Obi could have a future in the W.
8 blocks tonight for Kentucky, who leads the nation in that category with 10 a game. Asia Boone was a nice addition to this team for Kenny Brooks, along with Clara Strack, who just does that. Clara Strack now with 15 points. And Kentucky comes up with the basketball, and look at Strack running the floor. Talked about the size of this team. Obi, Strack, Galvin, all 6 feet or taller on the floor.
Oh, good cut by Obi.
Jordan Obi and Clara Strack, we saw the duo link up in that first half and combine for better than 20 points. And here, back-to-back buckets from Obi and Strack.
I think this Kentucky team, Kenny Brooks is going to put a lot of recipes together and put these players in different spots.
Feldman. No, and Kentucky can hold for the final shot. The interchangeability of players, the length of the Kentucky squad makes it so dangerous. Good defense there is heaved up and not in time, and Strack can't get off his shot.
It's been a dominant affair by the Kentucky Wildcats. You got Clara Strack with 17. Jordan Obi, she's gotten involved as well with 15. The Wildcats in control.
Well, when you look at a player like Clara Strack, she can do it all. You just size up the defense, or she provides the defense, and Clara Strack has had herself a night.
Well, there's a reason she's preseason All-SEC. She's on the Naismith watch list, as well as Lisa Leslie, the versatility. And I think that as you continue to be able to watch her play this season and see how she has expanded her game, the confidence that she's playing with, and she's playing with a dominant mentality as well. Wants the ball. It's her show. This is the Clara Strack team for the Kentucky Wildcats.
Comes in as an ultra competitor, as described by her coach, and just on a constant quest for self-improvement. Brings the right attitude and maturity, and the junior who has been the cornerstone of this defense, and just how effective she's been blocking shots, but her team also follows her lead with that as they're #1 in the nation in block shots.
Well, holding teams to 45 points a game and shooting 29%. And I think a lot of that has to do with the length, but also you can have the length and not be in the right area, cover your territory, and they do that very well. They cover for each other, they communicate, they box out, they rebound. As I watch this team, my question for Kentucky is, okay, where is the weakness? And when you are a team that has a lot of height, then you have the potential to possibly turn the ball over. And Kenny told me that's one of the reasons they played Marshall. Knew Marshall was going to press him for 40 minutes, and they beat it different than they did with Georgia Amore. With Deidre Amore, you maybe set one screen for her and she would go. Well, now with this team, with the length, they can beat you with the pass, and you've got bigger targets to pass out of traps that may come.
Well, it was Kentucky who had an 8-0 run to close out that third quarter. Amelia Hassett coming down with the rebound. And Lexi Blue in the corner for three. Yep, she got it. Continuing to rain threes. 7 triples tonight now for Kentucky.
Now, Lexi Blue is going to get more playing time the way she's shooting the ball from the three-point line. Coming into this game, she was shooting 44%, 7 of 16.
And Hassett, who could shoot the cover off the ball, leaves it short. She's not been able to get it flowing tonight as a part of the triplets you talked about earlier, Carolyn. That's okay, because when you've got other players like a Jordan Obi stepping up, she says, you know what, I'll carry your slack. Tiani Key.
Well, with this Kentucky team, they can have a leading scorer, different one every night.
Yeah, well, they've had a different leading scorer each game, to your point. I mean, it's just pick your poison, whether it was Jordan Obi in her first game in a Kentucky uniform, or Morgan.
You had Lexi Blue, who had 18 points against Monmouth when she was 6 of 7 from the three-point line.
They shot the three ball well at times this season. It was the second most, to your point, against the Hawks.
Now Purdue switching up to go zone.
Inside, Key working on McCarthy.
Yeah, Tioni Key never got out of the paint. When it comes inside, that's a no-pass zone. Did you see how Kentucky switched up now? You got Tioni Key, Jordan Obi, and Hassett. Right now, Key playing inside. She posted up last time. Be interested to see who is the post up this time.
Chasing down that board is Obi. Key, baseline, pops out. Good recovery from Blue as the reverse layup won't go for Day.
For the Wildcats, number 13, Strack. And number 8, Boone. Number 17,
there you got Layton Zay flashing in the open spot, but the buckets have been few and far between to come for Purdue.
And Strack, who was going for that rebound, was fouled on the way down by McCarthy. So 2 team fouls now. Correction, 1 team foul for Purdue. As Gordon checking back in.
See, Purdue, 3 players that are 6'3", 6'4", 6'7", but a lot of times playing them one at a time. Now, Katie Charles has both of them in.
Ball just keeps going in.
Well, Obi doesn't stop moving.
No.
They don't stop. She doesn't stop moving.
Just Kentucky making it difficult for anything on the offensive end for Purdue. Morgan sizing up Day, a lot of contact inside, and a 3-second violation goes against the Boilermakers.
Well, going against the zone, Jordan Obi, you watch her, she's on the elbow now. When the ball goes to Strack, she just slips to the basket instead of standing and watching go to the open area. I'm a true believer in if you move, the ball will find you.
Obi takes a well-deserved breather with 17 points on 6 of 10 shooting tonight.
And you can tell the experience of this team. They know what they want to do with the basketball before they catch it.
Hassett finally gets that one to go down. She's just 2 of 6 from 3-point range, but she's got 8 points and extending this lead out further. She had a great game against Purdue last season when they met with 22 points. Karsh, and that one is blocked, and again, pinball back inside of play. And the miss there from the Boilermakers. But again, Hassett, how many times have we seen her do that tonight?
Yeah, Hassett alters shots with her length, but how about the ball movement? Moving in, and you watch the other 4 players, they are moving in position. They know what's going to happen before the ball comes in their hands. If I shift this direction, defense is coming here. They knew that Hassett was going to be available for the 3. She caught it, knew what to do with it when she caught it.
And a jump ball possession arrow goes or stays with Purdue.
You know, it was interesting, Kenny Brooks talking about Hassett, and he said, look, I expect a lot of her, and she does so many things so well, so he's come to have the expectation of perfection. What does he want her to do? Look, he wants her to defend the best player, rebound, and then make every shot. And when she misses a shot, he's like, why are you missing that shot? Like, you just don't miss. That's how much faith he has in her scoring ability.
A lot of faith in the corner for Asia Boone, and Boone knocks it down.
But you got to give credit to Toni Morgan. She understood. She knew the assignment. She knew where the shooter was in the corner, came down, and then just kick it to that corner pocket.
She facilitates better than anybody in the country, leading the nation in assists, and Toni Morgan finding her teammates. Asia Boone says, I got your back, girl. Well, tonight's game, a very important one. They're back home, but then they hit the road as they head down to Louisville, or over to Louisville on Sunday, a top 25 matchup between 2 in-state rivals.
Yeah, then they've got Maryland, Morgan State, and Miami. But going back to that Louisville game, forget the record, forget what you've done leading up to this point, even forget the rankings of the recruits you got coming in, because when it's Louisville and Kentucky, it's all about pride.
Jeff Walls always has his team ready. Kenny Brooks, his squad up for the challenge. Already 70 points here, closing in on their season average of 85 a game, as KK Carroll in the ball game as Hassett hits another 3. 3 triples tonight for Amelia Hassett, the senior out of New South Wales, Australia.
10 of 25 from the 3-point line for the Wildcats. Shooting 40%.
Gordon gets the rebound, and that ends in an 11-0 run for the Wildcats.
When I watch Kentucky, I think, what are you going to take away? And I would try to take away Toni Morgan. Bring some pressure, cut off the head of the steak. Now see what the other 4 can do and how they handle the basketball.
right there. Again, to alter the shot. The break the other way is Morgan, leaves the layup short.
And Kentucky has hit their average 10 block shots on the night.
Morgan trying to snipe that one away. We talked just about the addition of Toni Morgan, her importance, but she's got such a great supporting cast on defense around her, the towering trees of Kentucky.
We saw her pregame. She has reached 500 assists in her career. Now that's a point guard that knows how to get the right people in the right spots and when to get them the basketball.
Three-time All-ACC selection as Morgan, who had that fantastic game against USC Upstate the last time the Wildcats were at home. 16 assists and no turnovers, Carolyn.
Look, over in the last 3 games, she had 36 assists and a total of only 4 turnovers. So she is a player that does a great job of taking care of the basketball as well. And it's not like she's sitting on it, conservative with it. She takes some chances, but she makes good decisions.
Feldman being guarded by Carroll for 3. That one won't go down for Karsh. Tough night for Karsh. Came in as the leading scorer, just held to 3 points in this game. Top of the key won't go down for Tiani. Well, the SEC Women's Volleyball 16-team single elimination tournament begins Friday with 4 first-round matchups beginning at noon Eastern right here on the SEC Network and the all-new ESPN app. First time they've held this tourney since 2005. And how about the Wildcats women's volleyball team winning a 9th straight SEC title?
Just
outside hitter.
Dominant.
Yeah.
Wow.
Eva Hudson has been spectacular, potential SEC Player of the Year. That will be unveiled tomorrow. Take it away by Purrier. Just not able to convert into points. It's just been a tough night for Purdue.
Yeah, I think Purdue is going to have to regroup and get a more defined area of where their shots are going to come from.
We talked about just how difficult of a loss it was to Purdue Fort Wayne, and then to come into SEC country and take on the 20 ranked team in the country.
And it doesn't get any easier when you get to the Big Ten. I mean, you got to face Lauren Betts at UCLA. The length of Jazzy Davidson at USC, the freshman for the Trojans.
And look, Silas Wards.
Oh, with Michigan. Oh my goodness.
Such a fun player to watch. So a big road ahead for the Boilermakers in the Big Ten.
Talking about the SEC, I'm keeping an eye. Ole Miss, Memphis. Memphis got a 2-point lead on Hottie Toddy right now.
Final 2 minutes of this one. And a traveling violation. It's going to be Kentucky basketball. We know about the triplets. We know about the experienced guards. What area do you like in the depth for Kentucky?
Well, I think at the guard spot with Asia Boone, who can flat out shoot the basketball, I think that definitely helps. I think Lexi Blue will be able to help this team again, another shooter that can come in. The key point for Kentucky, you've got all these offensive players, the dedication on the defensive side, and that's where Kenny Brooks hangs his hat. He even has Taylor Soule, who was the heart and soul of his defense at Virginia Tech, on his bench. And if there's anybody that can deliver the message and really exhibit the passion you've got to play with, it's Taylor Soule.
We saw so much of that energy that she brings just earlier today in shoot-around on the staff as a program assistant, and just her presence and being around means so much. And a really neat story too is a couple of misses at the rim, but so dedicated, so passionate, so loving of her head coach.
She was a big reason Virginia Tech went to the Final Four.
Yeah. So she paid off her coach.
She did.
by getting a tattoo at Big Blue Magnus before the start of the season. And then, like, I'm not sure how you would respond to this as a coach, but let's look at when she debuted it for Coach Brooks.
They got his signature. What? How crazy is that?
Where'd they get my signature?
You know what's crazy? They put it on me.
Isn't that great? I mean, how would you take it if Stephanie White or one of your players would have tattooed your name?
Now that showed how much you meant to that player. That was huge. Said it gave Kenny Brooks chills.
Prayer, working hard, nothing there. Well, this Kentucky defense, you've talked about it. Now they have held their last 5 opponents to under 50 points. And Purdue walking out of here with a season-low 35 as Kenny Brooks' crew cruises on to another victory to remain perfect on the season, moving now to 6-0.
I think that Kentucky has demonstrated the balance they have offensively, not just talent in each individual player, but the versatility of how they can score. But it isn't just about offense with that Wildcats. The defense, as you pointed out, that has been the focus, and that's going to be key for them as they get closer and closer to SEC play.
An all-around performance. Jordan Obi, Clara Strack, each with 17 points apiece, and a dominating performance from the 20-wing Wildcats here at historic Memorial Coliseum. We'll send it over to Dari Noka for Carolyn Peck. I'm Tiffany Green. What's happening, Dari?